Hey, I am Dave, the owner and founder of the Disc Golf Dyers Guild. Today, I'm going to show you how to create a dye mixture, specifically an acetone dye mixture. This acetone mixture can be used with clear glue beds, spin dyeing, as well as hand painting on a disc, and really your imagination is the limit of how you can use it. So we're going to be referencing our handy dandy dye formula chart that you can find on our website. This chart lists out the ratios and mediums used so you can get a start on your dye mixtures. This is just a start and a recommendation. Some colors may need more or less, and you may have to adjust the ratio to your need, but again, it's a good start. So what we have here is a 1 teaspoon sample pack of Pro Chemical and Dye. This is a powder dye, and we have all 50 colors of Pro Chemical and Dye on our website, and these are also in our kit as well. Next, we have our 2-ounce HDPE bottle. Now, we're going to be working with acetone, and we want to make sure that whatever plastic that we use or container is acetone safe, so it doesn't melt the plastic or evaporate. So this bottle is HDPE, which is acetone safe. You can also get a polypropylene bottle as well, but what I like about these bottles is they have a foam cap, so this is acetone tight, so the acetone does not evaporate over time. Next, we have a 2 teaspoon syringe, and this is what we're going to be using to transfer our liquids. Again, this is also acetone safe. And we have some water, and we have 100% pure acetone. We want to get 100% pure acetone because some nail polishes have some other additives in it, and it just doesn't work the same. The ratio that we're going to be using for this mixture is, since we have a 2-ounce bottle and a 1 teaspoon pack, the formula chart calls for a half a teaspoon for every 2 ounces. So we're basically going to be using half of this dye pack and putting it into this bottle. And the reason why we have water is the powder dye is water soluble. That means that the dye likes to dissolve in the water a lot better than the acetone. So we're just going to add a smidget of hot water, which the hot water helps activate it and dissolve even faster and better to get a really nice saturation. So now we're ready to create this mixture. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this water and get it to a near boiling state. Since I have a larger container of acetone, I'm going to be putting it in this cup so I can use the syringe to suck it up. But please make sure you know what plastic this cup is. So this is polypropylene, and the acetone will not dissolve the cup. If you don't get the right plastic, the acetone can melt through it and you can have a really big mess. We have our acetone in our cup, and we're going to wait for our water to get to a near boiling point. And while we wait for that, we're going to take our 1 teaspoon sample pack, and the mixture requires a half a teaspoon of powder dye to 2 ounces of liquid. You don't need to be exact to get half, but close will work. Again, some colors may need more powder dye and some may need less. You need to experiment with this. So we'll open up this jar and we will add the powder dye to it. And once again, you don't need to be exact. A good estimate will work. And if you do have our other kits, you can use the remaining dye for the squeeze bottles that we have in there, so you can use it for lotion or Floetrol if you wanted to. All right, we got the dye in the bottle. Next, we're going to add the water to the dye. The water is near boiling, and the amount of water that is required for this mixture is 1 teaspoon. And in our syringes that we have here, you can see there is a 1 teaspoon marker. So basically, you take it, you suck it up to a teaspoon, and you put it into the bottle nice and gently, like so. Then what we want to do is we want to mix up this part. So we have the water and dye, and usually I have a lab mixer to really get it mixed up, but really just shaking it up as much as you can to get that powder dye dissolved into the water before we add the acetone. Again, the dye is water soluble and dissolves faster and better than just straight pure acetone, and it doesn't necessarily affect the outcome of your dye. Now that the water and dye are thoroughly mixed, we're going to be adding the acetone. We're not going to be measuring this because we want to fill the remaining of the bottle with the acetone. And you want to leave a little bit of air gap so when you mix it, it sloshes around and really mixes thoroughly. So we'll add our acetone in here. I'll take a few syringefuls here and one more little bit here, and we're good to go. And we'll put the cap back on. And make sure when you put the cap back on, you put it as tight as you can. Now that you got the cap on, you basically just shake it as hard as you can to get that water and dye and acetone mixture really mixed together. And there you have it, your acetone dye mixture. Again, you can use this with clear glue beds, spin dyeing, hand painting, and again, whatever your imagination is up to. But you want to let this rest for at least a few hours because you want any remaining powder dye that did not dissolve to settle to the bottom, because if you're using clear glue beds or even spin dyeing, any of those clumps may show up. And if it does settle to the bottom and there is excess dye, that is perfectly fine. It's just dye that didn't dissolve. So when your mixture does get low, you can just add more acetone and shake it up again, and then extra dye will be in there. Again, you can find everything that we used here on the Dyers Guild website, such as the sample packs, the bottles, and the kits. We also have a bunch of other tutorials and free resources that you can get started dyeing today. All right, guys, until next time, find your line, craft your piece. Bye.